Today is the day of the Jiang Residence's opening of the Granary. This means that officials lining up in front of the Jiang Residence bring gifts to fill the warehouse. Jiang Changyang even specially crafted a scale. If the weight of the gift doesn't meet the requirement, visitors are not allowed to pay their respects. He Weifang, who came to the Jiang Residence to tend to the Chengtai, was astonished by the scene. Besides offering gifts, how could there be any shortage of people eager to flatter and curry favor? In the distance, a man was seen kowtowing and kneeling before Jiang Changyang, showering him with extravagant praises while presenting a basket of priceless pearls. Jiang Changyang's way of amassing wealth was truly beyond comparison, though it differed from the Liu family's methods. With a sharp mind, He Weifang understood that Jiang Changyang deliberately created a facade of extravagance to conceal things he truly wished to hide, so she chose to remain silent. Meanwhile, Liu Chang, who prided himself on his integrity, found the extravagance within the Jiang Residence unbearable. Upon seeing a courtyard filled with blooming peonies, he was unexpectedly reminded of He Weifang. In their year of marriage, it was only in the final days that he truly came to understand her. The Liu family's mistreatment of her, his past indifference, Liu Chang deeply wished to make amends. But, alas, it was too late. As he dwelled on these thoughts, he unexpectedly encountered He Weifang. Was it really her? This time, he confessed his feelings to her. However, He Weifang plainly stated that between them, there was nothing left but hatred. Meanwhile, Wang Qing sought out Qin Shengyi, feigning reconciliation. He Weifang immediately saw through Wang Qing's intentions. Sweet words would only lead to future beatings. She drove Wang Qing away. Qin Shengyi was grateful that He Weifang had given her a joyful life. With the money she earned, she bought He Weifang a beautiful dress. Qin Shengyi's parents valued sons over daughters, and she had never received love. But now, with He Weifang by her side, her life felt fuller. However, good times didn't last long. Many customers came back with withered flowers, demanding an explanation. Wang Qing fanned the flames, stirring up their emotions and pushing them to demand refunds. They smashed things, made a scene, and mocked her. Jiang Changyang was there, watching but not interfering. He Weifang looked at her mother's portrait, lit an incense stick, and adjusted her emotions before stepping forward to resolve the crisis. Jiang Changyang saw everything. He Weifang refunded the customer's money. Late at night, she wept in secret, only to be discovered by Jiang Changyang. She sincerely apologized. This time, he was kind and did not press for accountability. Reflecting on the mistakes she had made in flower cultivation, He Weifang vowed to avoid such errors in the future. At the flower market, He Weifang reached an agreement with Granny Sun to make scented powders together. As they talked, Granny Sun's daughter, Zhu Fu, arrived. Though a woman, Zhu Fu was strong, bold, and skilled in fragrance blending. As fate would have it, a man appeared, bringing Qin Shengyi's personal belongings and trying to slander her reputation. Zhu Fu stepped forward and gave him a thorough beating, sending him fleeing like a stray dog. The emperor, citing poor health, did not attend court affairs, leaving Prince Ning to continue handling them on his behalf. In court, Su Zuping advocated for valuing talent over noble birth, which led to a significant disagreement with Prince Ning. As a veteran minister serving 2 reigns, Su Zuping was highly trusted by the emperor. Prince Ning, feeling that Su Zuping was constantly obstructing and restricting him, decided to take action against him. Meanwhile, He Weifang tasted the floral pastries made by Qin Shengyi, which reminded her of Yulu and brought tears to her eyes. She thought Yulu would surely love these pastries. However, the remaining pastries were taken away by Chuanyu. He Weifang quickly rode her horse to chase after Jiang Changyang, who had taken the pastries. To her surprise, she discovered that the usually extravagant and indulgent Jiang Changyang was playing with a group of children in the courtyard. These children were orphans, and Jiang Changyang had been providing for their food, clothing, and daily necessities. He even boiled water for them himself. Seeing this, He Weifang's opinion of him changed slightly. At night, under the dark and stormy sky, He Weifang was on her way back to the city after fetching flowers when she accidentally witnessed Jiang Changyang killing Su Zuping, a renowned scholar from the Imperial Academy. The Imperial Academy was the highest educational institution and administrative body for education in ancient China. Naturally, Su Zuping was a highly respected scholar, revered by students. Caught in the rain, He Weifang fell ill with a cold, and the shock of what she had seen left her bedridden for 3 days. When she recalled that rainy night, the ruthless way Jiang Changyang had taken a life without hesitation, she couldn't reconcile it with the grief-stricken man now weeping inconsolably at the morning hall. Suspicion was written all over her face. However, if she were to reveal the truth about Su Zuping's death, Jiang Changyang would never let her go. Fear gripped her heart, and she decided to remain silent. Yet, the terror refused to fade. She no longer joked or laughed and pretended not to see Jiang Changyang even when they crossed paths. Meanwhile, Lu Chang found himself increasingly disheartened. Prince Ning had dismissed his proposals for water management, and Liuxian had taken the liberty of requesting leave on his behalf so they could go on an outing together, without consulting him. Frustration welled up inside him, and he drowned his sorrows in alcohol. As he glanced over at Yi Weifang, who was greeting customers with ease, his admiration for her deepened. In a complex social environment, Yi Weifang has her own principles and survival wisdom. In Chang'an, all flower businesses are controlled by the Flower Guild. She understands the importance of joining it. However, in a feudal society, women engaging in commerce are not welcomed. Yi Weifang and her two companions waited a long time before the guild leader finally arrived, only to treat them with disdain. If she wanted to join, the leader demanded a higher share of her profits. This was clearly an attempt to make it difficult for women to do business, since she was already sharing profits with Jiang Changyang. A 50-50 split with the guild would leave them with nothing. Ultimately, Yi Weifang refused. In retaliation, the Flower Guild cut off their access to fertilizer. Refusing to back down, Yi Weifang believed that there was always a way. After much effort, they finally managed to produce their own fertilizer. When Jiang Changyang learned about this, he offered to help, but Yi Weifang declined, knowing that relying on him long-term would not be beneficial for either of them. No matter what challenges she faced, she never wavered in her determination. Jiang Changyang felt reassured that he had not misjudged her. That day, Yi Weifang delivered his share of the profits. Soon after, Prince Ning and Lu Chang arrived at Jiang's residence. She quickly hid inside a cabinet. When the room was finally empty, she realized she was not alone. Someone else was in the cabinet too. It was Su Zuping. Shocked, she screamed. Suddenly, she jolted awake. In an instant, Jiang Changyang threatened her. Now that she knew his secret, the only fate awaiting her was death. With no way to escape, Yi Weifang had no choice but to fight back. Just as she exerted force, she suddenly heard Jiang Changyang's teasing laughter. It was only then that she realized the knife was fake. Seeing Su Zuping alive again, Yi Weifang finally learned the truth. That night, Prince Ning had sent assassins to kill Su Zuping, but Jiang Changyang intervened and saved him. He then arranged for a substitute corpse to be thrown into the river, creating the illusion of Su Zuping's death and making Prince Ning believe the deception. That day, the Jiang Residence was filled with the melodious sound of opera. Through Chuanyu, Yi Weifang learned that it was the memorial birthday of Jiang Changyang's late mother. The opera told the love story of Jiang's parents and how they first met. However, the man had failed in his attempts to curry favor and was instead accused of buying official positions through bribery. Jiang Changyang was not his usual self today. Late at night, Yi Weifang roasted meat, and the enticing aroma lured Jiang Changyang over. For once, he opened up about his feelings. The world believed in the lifelong love story of his parents, but in reality, it was nothing more than a joke. After the Jiang family moved to the dazzling city of Chang'an, Jiang's father took another woman as a concubine and never returned home. The atmosphere was lighthearted, their connection effortless and intimate. As the night breeze turned chilly, he draped a cloak over her shoulders, one embroidered with gold knots, showing just how well he knew her preferences. The next morning, Yi Weifang woke up to a startling sight. A group of people had gathered. Among them, a woman stood out. She was none other than Jiang Changyang's aunt. Aunt was also a legendary figure. She lost her husband at the young age of 18, running a trading fleet on her own. She naturally understood Yi Weifang's current situation. She was very fond of Yi Weifang and hoped she could marry Jiang Changyang. Troublemakers arrived at the shop's entrance. A woman had brought a Taoist priest, accusing Yi Weifang's fragrance powder of harming her husband. The priest publicly slandered Yi Weifang, claiming she was possessed by an evil spirit, causing panic among the onlookers. Frightened, the crowd smashed the fragrance powder they had purchased onto the ground. Even a shop assistant helped the priest put on a show. Zhu Fu followed the assistant and discovered that he had taken money from the deputy head of the flower trade. However, Yi Weifang had already come up with a solution. Jiang Changyang first went to the deputy head's store and bought a sachet. Then, he pretended to faint right at the entrance. The so-called priest was actually invited by Yi Weifang. He theatrically declared that the evil spirit had already left and moved to the deputy head's store. Yi Weifang then presented a consecrated sachet. Jiang Changyang immediately stood up and pointed out that the sachet was filled with blessings of fortune and prosperity, prompting the crowd to scramble for one. As a result, Huamanzhu's business boomed with customers, while the deputy head's store was left deserted. Lu Chang's mother happened to pass by Huamanzhu and was utterly shocked to see Yi Weifang, whom she believed to be dead. Later, while picking flowers in the mountains, Yi Weifang was suddenly pursued by a black-clad assassin, forcing her to flee for her life. She cried out for help as a blade slashed toward her head. Yi Weifang caught the bare blade with her hands, and blood gushed instantly. At the critical moment, an arrow shot toward the assassin. Seeing the overwhelming number of people in the convoy, the assassin panicked and fled. A noble-looking woman appeared, adding intrigue to the upcoming plot. Looking forward to the second season. Under the cover of darkness, He Weifang quietly returned to the courtyard, only to be stopped by Jiang Changyang. Who was that assassin, striking with such deadly intent? He ordered Chuanyu to investigate. Upon seeing the portrait, He Weifang immediately recognized the assassin as someone from the Liu family. So, the Lius were worried that she would ruin Liu Chang and Liu Zhen's marriage. How ridiculous. Determined, He Weifang confronted Liu Chang and revealed the entire truth. Liu Chang was utterly shocked. He begged his parents to spare He Weifang, swearing he would never see her again. Despite her injured hand, He Weifang still helped roast meat for Jiang Changyang. At the moment he wiped the corner of her mouth, an unspoken ripple seemed to pass between them. That night, Jiang Changyang not only brought her Chung Taiyu but also a special ointment for tendon and vein injuries. As he personally applied the medicine for her, the atmosphere between them grew increasingly intimate. A few days ago, Peony was thriving, but it suddenly withered. After a thorough investigation, He Weifang discovered insect eggs in the fertilizer. Who could have done this? This time, He Weifang caught the culprit red-handed. Under pressure, they revealed that the mastermind behind it was Chao Yueying, the deputy head of the Flower Guild. He Weifang devised a plan. At a restaurant, Chao Yueying was discussing with someone how they had used insect eggs to ruin Peony. Coincidentally, the head of the Flower Guild overheard the conversation from outside. His daughter, Lu Genchuan, who was He Weifang's friend, had brought him there. Furious, the guild head decided to expel Chao Yueying from the Flower Guild. However, Chao Yueying admitted fault and pleaded for forgiveness, putting on a pitiful act. In the end, He Weifang forgave him. After this incident, the guild head was impressed by He Weifang's business acumen and personally invited her to join the Flower Guild. But He Weifang's mindset had changed. She declined. He Weifang urged Jiang Changyang to host a banquet. She filled the stage with exquisite flowers, captivating the noble young men in attendance, all of whom eagerly wanted to purchase them. With theatrical performances and lavish feasts, her flower-selling tactics were truly remarkable. As a result, Hua Minju's business flourished. Once again, Wang Qing appeared at the shop. Feigning deep affection, he presented Qin Xingyi with a hand bomb. His performance was so tender and sincere that Qin Xingyi wavered once more. This scene was witnessed by Zhu Fu, who immediately stepped in and drove Wang Qing away. People may change their circumstances, but their nature remains the same. He Weifang, too, believed that Wang Qing was not someone Qin Xingyi should trust again. Qin Xingyi had always lacked a sense of security and longed for a man to rely on. However, she failed to grasp He Weifang's words. Happiness given by others could be taken away at any moment, but what one earned for oneself would last. Meanwhile, the relationship between Liu Chang and Liu Zhen had reached its lowest point. He refused to yield, while she used her power to suppress him. Frustrated, Liu Chang went to a restaurant to drink. In his drunken state, he accidentally dropped his treatise on water management into the water. Wearing a mask, He Weifang did not recognize Liu Chang. Warm-hearted as ever, she retrieved the treatise for him and even praised his work. Liu Chang, however, recognized her and immediately knelt down, begging for reconciliation. He was willing to relinquish his current status and reputation. Yet, He Weifang's expression turned cold as she rejected him outright. His arrogance contradicted his passivity. He harbored great ambitions but lacked the determination to fight for them. Instead, he resented others for standing in his way. One who brings misfortune upon himself has no one else to blame.